So when I'm lifting heavy, I'm telling myself that I am capable to handle heavy loads in life. Because girl, we both know that there are so many moments in your life where you gotta handle some heavy shit. You got heavy loads to carry. How are you doing that?
Roxy in the house.
My girl.
Welcome to Women of Impact again.
Thank you.
Your episode went viral last time you were here. It was so freaking fire. And so I want to make sure we pick up with that fire and really go ham today. And the thing that I want to start with is a quote of yours where you say, "How much effort am I worth?"
Yeah.
Oh, how much effort am I worth?
That one hit home hard to a lot of people. When you're in these moments where you have to do something difficult, where you have to try, where you don't want to do the thing, or maybe you're in the thing and you just got to keep going. You got to ask yourself that question is, how much effort am I worth? Because you're putting the effort in to take yourself forward past that point, for you to realize that it's your self-worth that's really going to help you to move past that. Like just trying to connect those dots, I felt by sharing that was really powerful, because I don't think it's so common to put those concepts together. Oh, this effort that I'm making is really connected to my self-worth. Right?
Dude, that is so powerful. And the reason why it's powerful is because today I've taken one of your most viral quotes, which is, you said it here on the show, self-love is not making excuses. Self-love is getting fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. Self-love is developing discipline. So when I hear it's about getting fucking uncomfortable, it's about not making excuses, it's about developing discipline, those are freaking hard. Yeah. And so I wanted to start with that quote about, how much effort are you actually willing to put in? Because in order for us today to really develop this self-worth that we're talking about, it's going to be hard. Yep. People are going to want to scream at the screen at you as you're saying how hard the effort is. And so I think it all comes to the starting point is, what are you willing to do for yourself?
Yeah.
Because once you decide, then you can move forward on everything we're about to talk about today of how to get to really love yourself.
Yeah, well, ultimately, it all comes down to the relationship that you have with yourself, right? You have to feel worthy of the battle and the victory, right? Because it's really easy to say, I deserve this victory. I'm worthy of this victory. I mean, and sure, I wouldn't argue that. But do you feel worthy of the sweat equity that you need to put in to get to the other side? And when you can pivot your mind to put your mind in that position of like, oh wait, this effort, albeit hard, something I really don't want to do, something I'm really dreading, or anything in that category, is actually me telling myself, hey, girl, you got this. I love you. We're worth this effort. We're worth trying. Let's see what we got. It's just a different perspective. And to me, perspective is life. It's what shapes our reality, right? We don't want to just be focused on this deserving and this worthiness of the end result, because no matter what, Lisa, whether it's a physical challenge, whether it's a financial challenge, an emotional challenge, psychological, any and all above, there's going to usually, more likely than not, be some kind of challenge in front of your growth, in front of something that you desire to experience and to actualize in your life. So when you can tell yourself like, hey, yeah, okay, this is going to be hard, or maybe I'm not looking forward to it or whatever, but I'm worth it. It's just, it gives you a different frequency to move towards the challenge and maybe even feel excited about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you been in a moment where there's a challenge that you actually feel maybe less afraid of and more kind of turned on by it, like just to see what you got, like your push-ups, which I love,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do hear it, but it always takes that proof of concept. So now the proof of concept that I've had time and time again of doing the hard thing actually leads to amazing results, makes me want to push hard, makes me see the outcome. But I'm just going to be honest, in those moments, it freaking sucks. And so we'll talk about that, right? We're going to, so guys, actually at home, let me say it right now.
Yeah.
We're going to do some amazing practical exercises together where we can show people the strength between making things hard on the body to then making our mind strong.
Yes.
So we're going to do some practical activities today that we want everyone to join in. But what can we say right now? Because if we say, hey, we're just about to do some pull-ups, people are like, that sucks, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what is that convincing, if you will, where you can help people understand that the hard thing is the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Because people, including myself, sometimes I do want the easy way.
Yeah.
I do want the easy way.
Sure.
But you say that there were no freaking handouts.
Yeah, there's no handout. Well, to self-trust, to cultivating true self-confidence. I put emphasis on true, meaning this is confidence that you have to cultivate from within, right? It's not like, oh, I'm receiving all these accolades, and that's all great. There's a place for the external, but to me, and I know with you, it's that confidence that you can pull, that you cultivate from yourself. To me, no, this is my favorite part about it, Lisa. Nobody can ever take it away from you because you've earned it, right? So, you know, when you are positioning yourself to do the things that are going to test you, that are going to challenge you, and even if you fail, like you don't hit the mark that you wanted to hit, right? Even if you just come up short or you hit a home run, it's just you making this statement to yourself like, hey, I'm not going to back down from the fight. I seek the fight, right? And I get it. Like, look, this is not a life of suffering that I'm promoting. This is a life that is simply saying, I embrace every challenge that is on my path, thinking about challenge differently, knowing that me moving towards this challenge is me fortifying myself. The relationship that I have with myself, my self-love, my self-worth, my self-respect, my self-confidence, my self-trust, right? So it's just reframing your whole perspective and approach towards doing the shit you don't want to do, straight up, you know?
I love that so much. And so today we're going to take those 3 pillars that you said that really ultimately equal to self-care is addressing the excuses you're making, right? Like calling yourself on your own crap, just being willing to get uncomfortable, and then making sure that we develop the discipline that when times get hard, when things come our way that may want to steer us off course, we have the discipline to keep going. Explain to me the importance then between the body having, like, putting it under all the stress and the hard things that we're talking about, and how that fortifies the mind.
Yeah, it's such a great question. First of all, it's just important to really put emphasis on this. We're in a body for a reason. We're in a physical world, right? To discount this connection and to not have a connection with your body, a healthy connection with your body, in my opinion, you're not able to really express your full potential in life. We're here in this symbiotic relationship. It's not just our psychology, but it is this physical vessel that we're in, right? What I do, you know, and I have all various modalities of movement, right? Jiu-jitsu, surfing, sprints, HIIT.
On the sand.
Yeah, the runs in the sprints in the sand, long distance runs in the sand, HIIT, you know, I love to move, you know, hot yoga. But for me, it's always the deeper, yes, I do it to absolutely keep my vitality fortified, right? To age like a badass. But what I'm really doing is I'm talking to my nervous system. I'm talking to my psychology the whole time, very specifically in those various modalities. So when I'm lifting heavy shit, I'm telling myself that I am capable to handle heavy loads in life. Because girl, we both know that there are so many moments in your life where you gotta handle some heavy shit. You got heavy loads to carry. How are you doing that? You know? How are you carrying that load? There are times where you just have to be like moving through moments of discomfort, like even just hot yoga, you know, it's so uncomfortable at times, right? And what do you have to do in those moments? You have to just kind of slow down, be very present, and breathe. How many times in life do you have to do the same thing, right? The list goes on, man. There's times where you gotta go. Like, it's go time. Sprint, go, push, hit. What do you got? Let me see it. So for me, you know, my brother, Mike Safai, is an incredible strength and conditioning coach. When we do these track sessions, we're like, oh man, they're so fun, but they're so brutal. And, you know, you're doing like stairs, you're doing jumps, you're doing all these different things, swinging a ball, like that's 10 pounds. And then you're pushing, and the sled has to be at least over 100 pounds. And if you're listening to me in those moments, when it's really hard, pushing the sled, it's like, my love, we have done harder things than this. My love, this isn't shit. Go, show me, I got you. And the emphasis here that I'm trying to make is that there's a skill transfer there. Do you know what I'm saying? So on the one hand, yes, you are physically taking care of yourself, you are supporting your vitality, but when things get really hard in my business, when there's deadlines and just excess pressure, I can take all of those various skills that I just shared with you, stop, breathe, calm down, slow down, be present, push, you know, all of it, and put it into application in these, you know, other aspects of my life. It transfers strong. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Dude, that's so true. All right, guys, now we're actually gonna do everything you just said. We're gonna put it all into practice because it's so important. I want everyone to see, girl, you do not just talk the talk, you freaking walk the walk. And part of me is like, I really want, you know my mission, right? To impact women, to make that change, to spark that change in somebody. And when I think about what we do here, me and you always talking, and we do so many, like, we have such amazing conversations. I also think there's that other part of it where people are like, well, show me.
Yeah.
Like, I hear what you're saying, Roxy. So if they just heard everything you just said, right? Like me, they're freaking in, homie. They're like, oh my God, that's beautiful. But how the hell do I do it? Right?
Yeah.
That's where people then get kind of stuck. Where I want to make sure that this episode today specifically is actually teaching people the skills, so that after they literally stop watching this video, they can go out and do it. So today, me and you are going to go and actually do these things, and you're going to coach me through how that physicality connects with the mental. So guys, we've got some surprises coming up. Are you ready, homie?
I'm so ready.
Number one, self-love is not making excuses. All right, Roxy, what are we doing?
We're gonna sit our butts against this wall for as long as we can. We're just gonna, we're gonna lean into that discomfort. We're gonna feel that burn and just see what we got.
All right, so we're literally gonna do wall squats, guys.
Yeah.
Roxy's gonna help us understand why the hell we're doing wall squats and how it's going to make us, our minds and our brains freaking badass.
Yeah, you know, some of the wall squats, nothing fancy. It's not some, you know, very complicated move. But that's the thing, Lisa. There's a lot of moments in life where it's not some big fancy, it's actually the small, almost mundane, like those boring movements, the repetition work that are really difficult, because it's actually easy when something's new or it's, you know, fancy or, you know, any of that to like, oh, okay, let me try. But when it's just that repetitive stuff that you know very well is what makes those 1% incremental differences. If I could do something that's kind of boring and just continuously see, you know, every day, can I go for 1 more second, 2 more seconds, or how can I increase my strength? That skill transfers over in other areas of your life when you don't want to do that boring, same old thing, but you know you need to because it's where you're going to make progress that's important, right? So
I love this. This is so good. All right, guys. So as you just heard, we're going to do wall squats. And another reason I think, to your point, is it doesn't have to be extreme.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be grand. Because here's the thing. This is where people make the excuses, right? It's like, oh, well, I don't have a gym membership. Oh, well, I don't have the books to read, or I don't have whatever, the time to do it. And this is the great thing. That's one of the reasons why we chose this exercise, for not giving excuses.
Yeah.
And then secondly, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. As we were coming up with these ideas, you were saying all these leg activities, like, oh, we can run up. And I was like, yeah, but honestly, Rox, like, we're going to be running. The audience can't actually hear us. And what was it, like,
like,
10,
what is-
10 minutes later, I was like, oh, I'm realizing I'm giving you excuses.
I love your realness. Yeah,
Because I fucking hate legs.
Yeah.
So this is one of these moments, guys. I want to call myself. So we're
Yeah,
going to do it,
let's
and
go.
we're going to keep talking. So
Yeah.
we want everyone to do it at home, because right now, guys, we're going to work on how the hell we stop giving excuses. And so this is one of these exercises we want you to do with us. All right, take us through it, and then we're going to keep
we're gonna
talking.
just really, we want to get real level, right? So we're not sitting up here, we're not down here, just as like you're sitting in a chair, right?
Okay.
And I love that you brought up the point of, it's not this complicated thing as well, where it's like people can make excuses. Oh, I don't have a gym membership. People think it's like the most common thought that people have of me of like, oh, you're just like beast mode all the time. You must be beast mode. No, I'm not. Beast mode has a place. And there are certainly moments in my training throughout the week where I'm pushing. And it depends on a lot of different things. What did I do the day before? Where am I hormonally? All of that. But the overall concept here that I'm sharing is that it's not the beast mode, Lisa. It's the consistency. If anything's fucking beast mode, it's me being consistent. Because that is the most challenging part, because life happens, because you're tired, because you name it, there's always going to be an excuse if you allow there to be an excuse, right? So for me, it's really important to put this out, that it's not about like doing the beast mode or doing the extravagant or doing the fancy. It's about not making excuses to do the simple things that you need to put constant repetition work in, and reminding yourself that you're worth the effort. You're worth it. Is it burning yet?
Yes.
You were so stoic.
I was so like focused on. So here's the other thing, right, with the excuses. Sometimes excuses are freaking real,
Yeah.
and that's the
Yeah.
problem. So I was like joking about the leg thing, but I'm dead serious. I recognize within myself that when I give excuses about not wanting to do legs, it allows me to use that idea in other areas of my life. And so the second I've accepted that I can, or the second I realize I accept excuses in one area, it's gonna spill. And I'm slowly slipping.
You got it, girl. Do it for one more second, Lisa. Do it for one more second, because you can. You could do it for one more second. You can do it for, yeah, exactly. It's all, you see that little, like, that reserve moment? That reserve moment is in fucking everybody, but not everybody is willing to push the trigger on it. But you're doing it. Look at that. You're like 5 more seconds in. If I didn't say anything, you might have fallen. But this is what you need to cultivate within yourself, is tell yourself, yes, I can. I can go. I can go. Well, you got 10 more seconds? I bet you do. I bet you do. And even if you don't, girl, you still tried. And that's the fucking point that we're making here.
All right, so talk to me. I'm going to keep talking so I can
keep
fucking
going.
talk to me about inches make the mile. What does that
Inches
mean?
make the mile. Everybody's looking at the mile, but the inches is where, yes, girl. I'm so proud of you. The inches are what make the mile. It's, can you make an inch of progress every single day? Because that adds up to the miles, to the big picture. Trust me, I'm burning over here too.
All right, you keep going while I keep talking to you. All right, so
yeah, no,
so
inches.
many buckets. So let's talk about that inch, because like you just said, I was willing to quit.
Yeah.
And you said, just do it one more.
And I'm like, come on.
That was one more fucking inch.
Yeah, exactly. You actually went a lot further than you thought you could go, right? What was that, an extra 30 seconds or 20? Who knows? We're not counting necessarily. But the point is that you had to dig a little deeper.
You're fucking beast mode, girl. Are you getting this shit? This girl is quivering and she's still going. That's
because you have to make friends with it.
Oh, all right. How are you making friends with it? Because right now,
because I know that every second I can still stay in this discomfort, not make an excuse of let my brain like tell me, the brain wants me to be safe, right? And start negotiating, right? We've talked about that.
Negotiating. What is your brain saying now?
Well,
what's the
negotiation? Like, girl, you're good. You proved your point. You could do it. And I'm like, but this is where my heart comes in and goes, no, you don't lead me. I lead you. We're a team. But don't get it twisted. My heart will always take the reins. And my heart is what pushes me through to hit that switch, to go into the reserve and pull some shit out of me that I didn't even know I could do. So it's really like you just have to push past the point. I'm falling, but I can fall with respect. I can fall and feel proud. You know what I mean? Can you fall and feel proud? You can when you put your fucking heart into the work. Just straight up.
Fuck, honestly, girl, I just fell to the floor. I was just like, I'm done. But like that slow, you could tell you were holding on with every ounce of your being. That personality trait, tell me how else that serves you, because I don't want people to think this episode is all about physicality.
No, it's not. And I love that because, and it's so important that you say that because for me, again, so many people see me and they see my form and they see my athleticism, but it's never about that for me. It's always about the internal. The inner shapes the outer. I am a path creator. I am living the life that I choose to live, right? My authentic self. My heart is leading me, meaning I say yes when I truly want to say yes, and I say no when I truly want to say no. There's no shoulds that live in the heart, so I don't play the should game. When you live this life of authentically being who you are, carving out your path, you're absolutely unreasonable. There's things that logically don't make sense, and you're like, doesn't matter, I'm going this way because this is what's, guiding me. And there's a lot of challenges, for several reasons, the internal and the external. So when you're in a position like this, like in this physical challenge where, the rational part of your mind is saying like, girl, we can stop now. Like your legs are burning, right? This is hard. We don't need to push. But that's not good enough for me because I know that in my life, if I submit every time the rational mind starts to come in and, give me that script, I would never be the woman that I am today. I would never be here, and this is just the beginning. It's always the beginning for me, right? So it's like and that's why the inches make the mile. It's like, I'm in it for the long game, right? And so for me to really live this self-actualization life where you are doing your very best every day to be fully expressed, right? To express your fullest potential, you have to be willing to tell the rational mind, to tell the inner critic, to tell all of that noise and that script, hey, calm down, however you want to do it. Sometimes it's like, I actually understand what you're saying to me because it makes logical sense, but I'm not going to listen to you because you're actually not here to lead me. My heart is here to lead me. And I'm willing to take the hard, I'm willing to fall, I'm willing to feel the shake, but just know that, I showed up to meet the fight, right? So it's like, this is one of the things we all face uncertainty, everybody, uncertainty. I've developed a very different relationship with uncertainty, for lots of various reasons where career path, when you're before this part of my career, freelance career, you don't know, no one knows what's coming next. But when you're like in that mode of operation, you really don't know what comes next, right? So like anything, you always have a choice. And for me, I've created comfort within myself by doing this.
What up, homie? I got something free and new to share with you right now. How often are you visited by that negative voice in your head telling you that you're not smart enough, that you're not good enough, experienced enough, not fill in the blank? One of the most powerful things you can learn to do in life is to turn that negative voice into your bestie. And I want to teach you how to do that and so much more in my 4 steps to becoming confident workshop. And guys, the most amazing thing is you can actually register for completely free for this workshop. So click the link on your screen and I'll see you on the inside.
Did you show up and give it your fucking best? Now listen, optimal performance, peak performance, 2 different kinds of performances. Peak is the apex. We're not peaking all the time, right? Optimal is giving it your best in whatever circumstance in that moment that you possibly could. And every day that will look different. But keeping it real, right? What we do, for me, it's at the end of the day, did you really give it your best? So if I can honestly say, hey, I did show up and I gave it my best, then when you're in these moments where you don't know what's coming next, how's it gonna turn out? Is this gonna be, it just neutralizes that energy because you're like, well, fuck, like, what else can I do? Like, I did my best, So it's interesting, to pull it all together. It's like, this absolutely supports that mental framework, that processing, you know, like you gave it your best right there. You went beyond your best even, like you know. And so can you see how that transfers over the next time you feel like you have to really apply yourself further, put grit into the picture, and maybe you're ready to quit, but then you can think about, but I was ready to quit there and I just pulled out, you know, I hit that extra switch and pulled out a little bit more in me.
It's so amazing. Everything you're saying is so freaking fun and so on point. And the one thing, and I've said this to you before, I think of you, like the words that come to my mind is a beautiful badass, because you're very, very compassionate to yourself. And you even say self-compassion is gangster.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's like, I like being freaking badass, but you're compassionate. And it's something I'm working on because I'm not there yet. And here's my friction with myself. Sometimes it works when I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Lisa? Get your ass up. So when we were on here, I literally, while you were probably being like, don't listen to it, right? Like you even were just saying the self-compassion part of it. It's like, it's trying to trick you. You're so nice, right? And I'm sitting there going, you fucking got this, Lisa. Don't you dare fucking let go. Like I'm screaming at myself in my ears. And it could possibly start becoming detrimental to me.
Yes.
And so where that fine line is of having your own back, and I love this phrase, be your own freaking ride or die.
Yes.
That is so damn strong. And so for me, I feel like I've always got my own back.
Yes.
Sometimes I need to scream at myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes, at least right now, I'm trying to learn the compassionate side to it because I'm not there yet.
Well, just again, always gonna just love you so much for being so honest. We can't make any progress without being real, right? And so I'm not saying that I don't have moments where my moments are more like Mickey and Rocky, like where it's like, get up, you know, like
You're your own hype squad.
100%. And the energy and the language that I use, it really just depends. Like I was saying, when I'm pushing that sled and I'm just like at the end, there's something about hearing myself say, my love, we got this. And it's not me babying myself, it's me in the ultimate state of unity with myself because I fucking love myself. So I think there's a place for both. There are some times where, for sure, like the brain, when the brain starts going and I'll be like, Roxanne, stop.
Oh,
and I
you full name yourself.
Oh,
Oh shit, that's
I'm a fool. Yes, Roxanne. Like, you know. So it's, and I speak out loud to myself. There's power in that. That is not something that I learned, but apparently there is science that backs that up. But it's really.
You actually say the words out loud then?
Oh, I talk out loud to myself all the time.
Oh, do you?
Everything that I'm saying to you, my love, like that's all out loud. Oh, that's not in here.
Wow.
Oh, you gotta try it.
Oh, God, it's like totally like shattered my beliefs right now. Wow.
Oh, no.
You say it out loud.
Oh my goodness, all the time. So whether it's in training, like
Ah.
I'll be running the beach and I'll just like, it's hard, you're sprinting. I'm like, come on, Roxanne, you're fucking different. You're fucking different. Go. Out loud. Because how would you feel me talking to you right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Hearing my energy, feeling my energy, that affected you differently than if it was just kind of silently happening.
Yeah.
It pulled something else out of you.
All right, so take that to other areas of life, because again, I really want people to know we're not just talking about fitness here. So take that idea where you're full naming yourself, or you call yourself out. Like, do you ever do it in business, relationships?
100% yes. So,
I'm going to try the wall squat again as we keep talking. You're cool with that?
Yeah. I mean, just, a couple months ago, I remember things were just, I don't know, there was like a misalignment of things, just to move it kind of quicker. And just to say that, like, there was a lot more happening up here. And I caught it gratefully, because self-awareness, when you have strong self-awareness skills, you can do that, right? So I found myself putting excess pressure on myself that I did not need to put on myself. It was like, hey, girl, like, I get it. This shit's hard right now. There's a lot going on. We've got this and we've got that. I do a lot of hand on heart. And I'm like, but hold on, like, let's just like be here right now, one victory at a time. What's going on here? What matters and what really doesn't matter? and you start just having these conversations with yourself. Lisa, here's the thing. It's interesting. I think that there's a common there's a common tendency for people to think that they really know who they are. Oh, I know myself. Like, I'm born here. This is my family. I like this food. I don't like that. I dated this person. That doesn't mean that you actually know who you are, right? You know when you learn who you are? Fucking right now. You learn who you are in moments like these.
See, I get hard. I get angry. Shit.
No, you learn who you are in moments like this. You have to do, here's the point that I'm gonna make. I'm gonna just sit, but the point here is, look, to develop any kind of loving, trustworthy, respectable relationship with anybody, what do you have to do?
Accept yourself?
Yes.
Ooh.
But where I'm driving this is you have to invest. You have to invest. You have to invest time. You have to invest energy. You have to invest in the being that you are, to learn, to distill, to listen to your heart, your intuition. What are your true core values? What do you stand for? You know, what are your core beliefs? 'Cause I think that everyone can agree that life has endless hard moments in it. So how do you build your resiliency? How do you build your perseverance? How do you build your capacity, your grit to handle, and to not just handle, but to find ways to thrive in these endlessly, hard moments in life? Well, you could do it in the physical realm like we do, and I'm a huge advocate for, because it's low-hanging fruit. Unless, unfortunately, you have some kind of issue where you can't. But any time I leave a session of training, whatever that looks like, I just feel more capable, because I am. And I've also fortified the relationship with myself, because again, throughout every bit of my process, I am consciously moving with my girl, and she's moving with me, my muse. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I love that you are your own muse.
Yeah, well, aren't we? Conceptually, wouldn't it be great if we were all our own muse?
Yeah.
Right?
It's such a beautiful frame of reference.
Thank
Like,
you.
it's so, it really hits home. Words matter.
Words cast spells.
Yeah,
Words
yeah. I love these.
Words, the audible, the inaudible. It's a frequency. It's an experience that we are giving ourselves, that we're giving our audience right now too. So they absolutely do matter. I'm very specific about the words that I choose, whether they're silent within myself or in conversation with anybody. But to create a relationship with yourself, capital SELF, I always write, in capitals, is, to me, first of all, the most important thing that anybody could do in their life. Because I always say, I don't know if you ever heard me say this, but like, the one variable that doesn't change in life is that you're in you until you're out of here. Like, everything else can change, likely will. But this isn't changing. This meaning you, in your body, in yourself, in your consciousness, in your heart, in your intuition, this is here until you're out of here. So it kind of makes real great sense to get into a really great relationship with yourself. And by the way, I'm not saying that this is an overnight process, and I am certainly not saying that this is necessarily an easy process. I'm 44.
I literally was about to say, I'm 43, and I'm still on my journey. I hope to until I'm in my 90s.
Yes, girl. Yeah, because that's all mentality, and you know what? All this stuff helps that mentality, right? Like, I have this whole thing where I don't. Somebody asked me, on this birthday, like, how old do you feel? I'm like, old? I don't feel old. In fact, it's not even in my lexicon. I'm strong. I'm 44 years strong. Next year, I'll be 45 years strong. It's a different approach towards life. Oh, you're just like getting stronger as you move towards life? Because we've been so groomed to be like, oh no, we get frail and we fall apart. Right. I'm saying I'm not denying the fact that we're out of here one day, but I am saying, how strong can you be in your life the whole way through? Mentally, physically, emotionally.
So true. And there was one thing, oh my God, that was so far, I didn't want to interrupt you, but the one thing that is so strong is, to your point about the physicality of it, is building that up so that you have these moments of you're hitting either a brick wall or you're moving uphill, and then you use that as a proof of concept, right? And you get stronger through that.
Yeah.
Doing it through physicality, to me, is a controlled variable, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because feeling like you put yourself out there, someone breaks your heart. You put yourself out there, your friend betrays you. You put yourself out there, a business partner stabs you in the back, right? All of these things that make you stronger, they fucking suck, but they make you stronger, aren't variables you can control, and you put yourself out there and then only to get torn down. Whereas fitness, the body, I show up, no one else. No one's got anything else to do with it. Either I show up that day or I don't.
Yes.
Either I show up and crush it or I don't.
Right.
The external has no impact on me. And so in these activities, like you're saying, I'm able to fortify, get stronger, so that when something happens, if my heart breaks, if someone stabs me in the back, if someone tries to push me around, I've already built my strength within myself, by myself.
Yeah. And would you say then that when you say I've built this strength within myself, by myself, can you also see it as I've strengthened the relationship that I have with myself?
That's interesting. I've never thought of it like that before.
But it's really what you're, and you totally know this. People ask me all the time, like, literally, like, well, how do I just care less about what people say and their rejection or their opinions? I'm like, it's pretty simple. You have to care more about what you feel about you, right? Well, how do you do that? It's that relationship with yourself. When you show up here and nobody's paying you to do this and nobody's lifting the bar for you or holding you up, and you're just doing this work by yourself, for yourself, you're in a moment with yourself, capital SELF, right? And you're in this dynamic exchange, you're doing the hard shit together, and you leave, and it's like, man, how do you not feel more love and respect for yourself? Even if it was a day where it was like it wasn't your greatest session, but you still showed up, right? We gotta just show up every day. We have to show up. And so the point there that's so powerful, I believe, is that, when you can develop this relationship with yourself, and when I say you can, I believe that anybody can, right? But again, it's this investment work, it's a repetition, it's a showing up, and it's you doing it for you because you're worth it. It affects how you move through your life and also affects how people move with you in your life.
All right, homie, let's learn some discipline.
Let's do it, girl. I love discipline. I know that it doesn't seem like a very sexy thing to want to apply in your life, but Jocko Willink, he has really put a new perspective on discipline, where he said discipline is freedom. And it really is, because when you're applying discipline in your life, first of all, I believe, and I know in my own life, that it has cultivated self-respect, right? It's like full integrity. But when you know that you're gonna just do the thing consistently and you have the discipline to do it, it shuts off other options. The back door is closed, right? It helps with decision fatigue. And again, like it's the performance here is the consistency. Like if you do really great in whatever, like excellent, we all want to do great. We all want to kick ass. We all want to, but I think the most important thing that we're really driving home here, that I certainly am an advocate for, is chase consistency. Chase the discipline. That's the winning on the way to winning. That's what's going to get you to the finish line with this relationship that you're cultivating with yourself that says like, damn, that was hard. I didn't even know if I could do it, but I tried, and I'm so glad that I did. And if I could do this, like shit, what else could I do, kind of thing, right? So.
All right, so tell us why you've chosen this activity and what this means and how this is going to impact us.
The dead hang.
Yes,
again,
dead hang.
It's similar, kind of to the wall sit, where we're not doing anything fancy, but in life, there are so many moments where it's like, you got to hang on. Like legit.
No matter how tough and shitty it is.
No matter how hard, no matter how tired you are, like you have to hang on. So the dead hang is actually one of Peter Tita, incredible high performance longevity doctor. He recently was on Andrew Huberman's podcast, and they were talking about some of the exercises that he puts his patients through to really just see where they're at for longevity reasons, right? And the dead hang was one, and I don't remember all the ages, but he pointed out that women, specifically at the age of 40, so optimal is 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Right? So as you move up in age, then you get more lax there. But
1 minute and 30.
1 minute and 30, girl.
So here's the thing, I didn't know that.
No.
That's amazing. I have no idea how long I'm going to hang for. I have no idea how long you can hang for. So this will be an amazing test. And what also, I'm going to make a promise to you. What I'm going to do now is after we do this for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to see if I can beat this record. And in 4 weeks, I'm going to let you know if I've managed to beat it or not. Because this is about discipline.
It is.
And so it's not necessarily about where I am today and feeling badly about, oh my God, maybe I can only do 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's about, oh, I can do 10 seconds today, but I know with practice, consistency, and discipline, I'm going to be able to get to my 1:30.
Okay, I have to point out something that's so powerful what you just shared right now. You just said, like, you've never even done this necessarily.
Not
like,
just, I've done like some pull-ups.
Yeah,
I've
you've
done that in a while.
pull-ups, but you're not like just going
Oh, Jesus, never.
Right. And that's where most people wouldn't even want to go forward. Do you know why? They don't want to face. Well, what if you drop in 10 seconds?
Oh.
How's that going to make you feel?
The funny thing, I love this question. It would make me feel driven to be like, and going back to the voice, I'm like, that's all you can do, Lisa, 10 seconds, I'm gonna show you. And it's like myself is showing myself, so that next time I'll be like, you can do 15 seconds, damn it. You know?
And that is the ultimate, I feel that to be driven by the challenge is the goal, right? To seek the fight. But unfortunately, most people won't even go there because they don't want to experience that, oh shit, I can only hang for 10 seconds. Just try it. And then let's just say how do you know you're not going to hang for 15 seconds? But you don't know until you try, right? So I'm just inviting our incredible audience to go, hey, even if you've never done it, even if you're scared, even if you're not sure you could do great at it, it's okay. Because how you cultivate self-respect and that self-love and all this stuff that we're talking about and that strength and that I'm capable energy is by trying, right? And then do the work, to be consistent, to try and make advancements, or not, even if you tried one time, but to not try because you're afraid of what you might face, in terms of like with your own self.
Yeah. It just gets me motivated. I'm going to go back to your winning on the way to winning. Because if I only do 10 seconds now, and we'll see in a second how long I can last, but let's say I only do 10 seconds.
Yeah.
My winning on the way to winning goes, cool, I know I need to get to 1:30, right? That's me actually winning.
Yeah.
Let's just say based on what you said.
Yeah.
So winning on the way, if I'm at 10, tomorrow I want to be at 11.
Yeah, exactly.
The next day I want to be at 12. And if I still hit 11 that day, I'm still on my way, I'm still winning on my way to winning.
Exactly.
I love that.
Winning on the way to winning, inches make the mile. And also just being turned on by the challenge. Listen, I always say this, like, everything in life is information. What separates us, this is my own kind of introspective aha moments in my writing. What separates us as individuals, in my opinion, is twofold when it comes to the information piece, right? So sunlight's information, sleep is information, this is information, food is information, it's all information. What separates us is the information that we individually choose to ingest, to participate, to exchange with. And then there's information that we didn't choose, 2020, and it's how an individual moves through that information, how they respond or react. But everything is information. So what I like to do is invite everyone to pull the best out of yourself in any and every moment of your life. We have to remove this self-judgment, and we need to replace it for what I call the student lens, right? Like, because the student is curious. If we're judging, not only is it just, we've concluded, like, are you done? I'm not done. I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. I mean, you like queen of growth mindset. We've talked about this so much, and there's a great reason for it. And to operate with that growth mindset, you have to be willing to place self-judgment out of the picture and to be, operating from more this curious, open, there's a word that I love, you want to become a possibilitarian.
All right, so you're going to show us what's possible, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to give it a shot afterwards.
Okay, so should
the
I
goal
time?
is 1:30, is that right? Do you know what your record is?
So the last time I did it a couple weeks ago, I hit 2 minutes.
Jesus, all
Yeah.
right. Personal best, let's see if she can hit 2 minutes. All right, ready? And
Go.
Go. All right, so you're hanging on there, got the time going.
Yeah.
So what do you, talk to me about the mindset
for
right now.
sure, it's going to be, it definitely adds another layer of challenge when you have to be in a conversation, you know, but that's okay because we're not backing down from the fight, right?
There
it's
it
like,
is.
Ooh, let's do this.
We seek the fight.
We seek the fight, girl. Yeah. Well, I just personally, I love this so much because of, what we said about like, man, there are times in life where you just gotta fucking hang on. What do you got? It's always like when I'm in the moment, like the heat of the moment. And it's usually in training because again, it's that controlled, like I could push myself to a whole nother level, which isn't to say in my life, oh my goodness, there are so many moments. But in those moments where I am just like, fuck, how am I gonna fucking keep going right now? Like what, it's this question of like, what do you got, girl? Who are you? There's something about the who are you? Who are you, Roxanne? Who are you?
But when you ask yourself, who are you? What is your answer?
Yeah, I mean,
Is it ever negative?
no,
Never.
not at this stage, in
But
my
it
20s.
Used, but it used to be.
Oh, in my 20s?
Well, all right, because here are some people
Yeah.
now think you are an anomaly, and I don't want them to dismiss you.
Yep.
Because if you were the person that used to be like that, and now you're like, hell no, what is that? Well, in fact, let's start with what were you saying before to yourself in 20s, and I can't believe you're still going. 1:43, this is super freaking impressive.
It's just putting myself down where I didn't need to. First of all, I wasn't in my optimal state of health, so there was that.
And that made a difference to you being at the
100%. That's why I'm such an advocate. I'm slipping. I'm fucking slipping.
Come on, girl, you're 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 1 second, 3 seconds, 4,
I'm
5. Yeah, 2 minutes and 7 seconds, girl.
Well, so the connection here is to say, like, look, when you are in your healthiest state, and health is going to feel and look different for everybody, right? When you are in your healthiest state, whatever that is for you, you first of all, I believe you can tell me what you think, but the volume on your intuition is louder. You are less toxic
As you get
inside.
older?
No, it's not even that as you get older, it can be, but it's more to say that when you are clean in here, when there's health going on in here, everything is just working stronger. And one thing that is working stronger is the volume on your intuition. It's this connectivity with self, right? Because you got to think like there's less toxicity. You're not, right? So the channels are more open, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Sorry, can you pause there? Because I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that I understand this.
Yeah.
So when you feel pain, it is your way of your brain saying, hey, there's a problem here. And so all of your focus goes to one area to repair it. It shuts down other parts, right? Which is why your body gets inflamed, it protects it. Your mind saying, hey, there's danger down there, so now you're trying to fix it.
Right.
If you're completely free and your mind isn't being occupied with, hey, your body's inflamed, hey, you're tired, hey, your gut hurts, hey, then you have the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Your functionality is just
strong.
stronger. And also, you have to think like, listen, your emotional resilience, which is something that I'm always like physical, okay, cool. But your emotional resilience, right? Your emotional discipline, your emotional agility, that is absolutely affected by your health. And I know, and this is something that's so important for me to share and I say it frequently, but like, listen, I didn't come out and come into this organic, I ate Taco Bell in high school. Like I injured my knee, 3 knee surgeries. I gained, 30, 40 pounds over my frame.
I didn't know that.
But when you really want to feel your best, which is to me the number one driver, like, because I know this, if I feel my best, how is that going to affect everything else in my life?
Oh, you're going to show up like a badass.
Exactly. So if you want to show up like a badass, then it's probably a good idea to do what you need to do to feel your best, right? And so granted, like your 20s, you're just interested in different things. And I was trying to get back to homeostasis and, you know, get into my body composition that was healthy, but I wasn't doing necessarily all the healthy things. And so, you know, I've been writing my whole life. Those years in my journal, whew, I'm like, who was that? Because I was mean. But also at the same time, this was still there, not as refined necessarily, but you can see the contrast that was constantly happening. And then I go through my 30s and I shed that, you know, those parts of me, and then, you know, move into my 40s and it's like, and I'm, you know, I just put this in a video for my digital course. I don't talk about this too much, not because I don't want to or there's a reason, but most people don't know, they wouldn't, because that my childhood was fucking gnarly. I should fail. Statistically, me and my siblings should all fail. We come from a home of domestic violence. My mother had to fucking run away to save her life. It's a long, complex story, right? But the point here is this perspective of mine, this attitude, this way of life, this approach, this wasn't like, I didn't just come out like this. This is, I should fail. In fact, you know, I don't know, my family, we got lucky because I'm sure you're familiar, post-traumatic growth, right? We all know post-traumatic stress, right? Post-traumatic growth. We went that way. We went the other way. Everyone in my family is an entrepreneur. Everyone in my family is doing their best, like making shit happen for themselves, like takes care of their health and well-being. And all of that comes down to a choice, and it all comes down to this relationship that we've developed with ourselves. So I never want this to be, you know, anything that I share that we talk about to seem unattainable. It is not unattainable. It's simply being willing to, first of all, choose, and then commit, and be willing to start from the beginning. Be willing to start from the fucking bottom. Be willing to suck. Be willing to sweat, to take the punches, but know every bit of the way and every effort that you're making that you are just, whether you're aware of it or not, now there might be awareness of it, but you are literally telling myself or yourself, I love you, you're worth it. I love you, you're worth it. I love you, you're worth it. Keep going, keep going.
You said something, by the way, that I'm going to ask you once I jump up so that I can trickily have you talk while I concentrate on holding on. So press the time and then I'm going to ask the question.
Okay. Yep. Ready, girl?
Yep.
Start.
So you said there's some people that do, that have post-traumatic stress and some people that have post-traumatic growth. What is one of the biggest key things that separate people with the have the growth? Because when I think about that fine line that then leads to someone having a completely different life, holy smokes.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I think there could be a lot of different reasons. I'll just give you what I believe happened with me personally, because it's the most honest. In evaluating myself, I didn't know this when I was younger. I'm so proud of you right now.
I'm going to be 1 minute 30.
Yeah.
Where am I? Where am I?
You're 39, 40.
Oh.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
You know what? Through all the hardship, I think for me, when I look back, it's like, well, why didn't you? Like, what happened? How'd you grow? It's like, well, first of all, at a young age, as a competitive athlete, I was a runner, I developed a relationship with greatness. There was something about greatness, looking at FloJo, my fucking favorite, and like, I just identified with an energy of greatness, right? You're at 113, you're a badass. The other thing is this, I didn't take it personal. It wasn't my problem. Like, I had nothing to do with it.
Tell me when I'm at 130.
You could do this, Lisa. You do this all the time. You do way harder shit. You do way harder shit. You were at 130. You were at 131, 2, 3. I'm so proud. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm so proud of you. 40, girl. Easy. This is easy. That's something I tell myself all the time. I didn't stop it on time, but it was 1:45.
But dude, you want to talk about, I feel so damn great about myself now.
Oh yeah, because
like
that's
even,
hard
but
shit.
even like that adrenaline rush when you were like 1 minute 24, I was like, oh God, oh God. And it's like,
You see the finish line.
Yeah, but like that's part of the aggression helps me in those moments, though.
Yeah, well, and aggression, I think, has its place. And I certainly am like, come on. There's times where I'm like, oh, yeah, like, come on. That energy does come out of me. You're not fucking putting yourself down. You're building yourself up. That's,
Yeah, I like
that's,
that.
yeah.
I'll stick with that idea. I love that. But sorry, I ended up falling at like the biggest moment. It's like, and the keys to the universe is, and then I interrupt you. So,
The keys to the universe. What was I saying?
so you even said about the growth thing.
Yeah. Well, So it was two parts. It was one, just the connection with the energy of greatness, right?
How do you do that? Like when you said it, I was like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But everyone else, including myself, was like, what the fuck does that mean? And how do you do it?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
it sounds badass.
It's such a great
Let's
question.
take a seat.
Yeah.
We're gonna finish off this segment.
No, well, it's such a great question. And it's something that I actually really love to talk about because it can seem like, wow, it's so big. So let's bring it here. Well, so first of all, I was a competitive runner, starting from the age of, how old was I? I was 7. Started doing like 5Ks, 10Ks, and then I went into track and, up into my early teens. And so, my father was really great at presenting people of excellence. So whether it was Olympic athletes, artists, musicians, poets, like it was never about status, like, I love that FloJo, she was the fastest woman in the world, the gold medalist. But what I loved about FloJo, she had a relationship with herself, her outfits, her makeup, her nails. Sure, like everybody, look at me, but it wasn't about everybody, look at me. I saw a sense of character there that for me, I'm like, there's greatness in that. And yes, you're actually the fastest woman in the world, you're winning. What does it take to win? Well, a lot of things. There's certain behaviors, habits, discipline, consistency. So it was me identifying what it took to express yourself on a great level, right? By way of character, by way of habits, and it's not like I had it all down at this young age, but the point is there was a connection. I felt it within me. I felt like it was possible. And I wanted to go to the Olympics. I didn't go to the Olympics, but that's okay because life is my sport. And so every day is like an Olympics for me. But the other part that we talked about when you were kicking ass over there was, what post-traumatic growth, logically, I almost should have broke, right? And my siblings, but we didn't. And I really point it all back to the relationship that we developed with ourselves, Really, it is that.
The reason why I asked you about if you've never had that is because I'm now, I think of myself as an optimist, like where am I going? What can I build? Like the excitement of it doesn't come naturally to me.
Oh, really?
I spent so long being the negative. This means something about you, Lisa. This means that you're a loser, that you're no good. And so I realized I was naturally inclined to think like that.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself, does this serve me? And the answer was no.
Yeah.
And so I said, cool, I don't beat myself up over naturally being like that.
Yeah.
But I pride myself on being the person that recognizes that it doesn't serve me, and I work to flip it. And so to me, Tony Robbins, I think, was the person that said, how can you take the worst moment and make it like the most magical moment? I'm sure I'm butchering the quote, but something like that. And like that to me became everything. It was like, I naturally go to the negative. Lisa, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up over it, but recognize when you do. So every time I notice it, oh, that's negative. Cool. What's the opposite? Great. I'm going to think like that. And it becomes a practice, it becomes a discipline, it becomes a habit that you have to cultivate. Like, it's so freaking weird to think that you have to habitually change the way you think and unwind the habitualness that you've had maybe from your childhood to then think a different way. And so I was just curious if you've always been an optimist or if that's a process.
When zooming out, and again, the most fortunate thing for me is that I've been writing my whole life, right? So it's for the larger part of my life, right? So I actually have proof. It's not just what I think or what I remember. And again, there were moments in my 20s where it was like, oof, but I was going through hard things at the same time because again, I chose myself. The thing for me when I look at overall the dominant energy of myself is no matter what I faced and no matter how hard it was, I'm going to look at the best possible outcome, which doesn't mean that I'm oblivious or ignorant to what could go wrong. But it's just that I know where my power is, and my power is in my attention. It's in my focus. So I'm going to direct my attention and my focus on the outcome that I would, desire. Whereas like positivity is more of like a state and a mood,
That's interesting.
Whereas like optimism is more of a lens and a perspective, right? So do they go together? Yeah, totally, but there are times where shit just sucks. Straight up. And it's like, does that sound negative? To me, it just sounds real. But one could say that's not a positive attitude. Oh, okay, I don't care. But do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that you can say this shit sucks, and yet I'm going to learn from it, right?
Exactly.
So that becomes like it's still you're an optimist about sucky things,
right? Because it's the approach, it's the lens, it's the directive, and I personally love that because sometimes that's all there is to admit or to say, like, damn, this sucks. This is but it's also like when you can just face that, it's like, okay, well, now what?
Right, exactly. Right? You get what you focus on. So if you say, oh my God, this sucks, now what? How am I going to be in beast mode? It makes you focus on how to get out of the sucky thing. Whereas if you go, oh my God, this sucks, I must be a loser. And now what you're going to do is your entire being, the way you show up every day, is going to act as in accordance to what you've just told yourself you are.
I love that you said that because I am a firm believer that our self-identity shapes our reality.
Yeah.
Right? So self-identity, self-concept, interchangeable, but it's what we believe to be true about ourself is what's actually shaping our life, right? There's a quote I love, like, you are who you practice to be. And it's so important to understand. Number one, we're here to evolve, right? Like, no one's stuck in you're you unless you decide you are. And ultimately, you want to be evolving, right? If you're in a place right now where you just don't feel good about who you are or what your life is, or, okay, that sucks. I feel for you. But it's not over. And you're not stuck. You can change. You can make differences. You can make a difference. And you can evolve into a self-identity, into a relationship with yourself that isn't that. That is one that you love, that feels good, where there's reverence and integrity and self-worth. But it is that, it is first of all understanding that it's possible, and then you have to decide, are you willing to invest what it takes to do the work to live into that self-identity, that relationship with yourself. Let's just say you're someone who's like, yeah, I don't feel good about myself and I want to make a difference. Okay, but yeah, you know what, Rox, I can actually see that it's possible for me to make a change. Cool, awesome. Love it, because you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. Now I'm going to ask you, what do you think can get in the way? You're going to wake up one day and you're going to feel sad, or you're going to have a hard like, is that going to stop you? Is that going to, you know what I mean? Like, those, if you can just be in awareness of that, it's not going to rock you the same way, right? So you're not going to go into guilt, shame mode because, you didn't expect that feeling to come. You were all motivated. You were making a difference. Let's just say I was doing really great. But then one day, whatever happens, and now all of a sudden it's like, I don't feel like doing the thing. And then you're like, oh man, look it, here I go again. The scripts. I'm like right back where I started from. No, you're not, right? But what I'm saying is, like, if you can already just see those things potentially coming in to the picture, right? Then you're like, cool, what do I need to do right now, knowing that might happen, to then face those moments? Because that possibility that I've already said is actually there for me. I actually really want to live my way into that. So that's more important to me. So let me just try and plan ahead. And maybe those things come up, maybe they don't. But you see what I'm saying? It's being more strategic instead of just relying on, this motivational moment. It's being tactical, it's being strategic, it's being honest, and then it's being, applying the discipline.
I freaking love that. And to that point of, like anxiety, the fear, all of that comes with the worry that something may happen. Right. And so if you've already projected that, if you've kind of maybe tried to shine a light on the things that maybe you're concerned about, then you can actually just have a game plan. Be like, okay, what do I do when X, Y, and Z happens? Are you ready to do the cold plunge?
Like, woof.
Oh yeah, I'm screwed.
make this very clear. We don't really want to do this right now.
All right, this hand.
Let's go. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it.
Walk in the park. Holy shit. All right, and just to be fair, we're going to bring all the ice so people don't think we're cheating in any way, shape, or form.
No. It's a whole different game when we,
All right.
when we sit
Here
right
he
now.
said,
Thumbs in the hands. We got to go down to our shoulder. Yeah.
1, 2,
2, 3, go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is no fun. Ooh, all right. So, getting uncomfortable.
Breathing through the discomfort. What I love about this is that you have to really dig deep.
So things like this, I really have been dreading.
Yeah, me too. I mean, listen, like it's a love and hate relationship because we know that what we gain from this is so substantial. It's so beneficial for mental strength, for the physical, our physiology, for our overall health. It's just you know it's not going to feel good in the moment, But I love also how this takes you into a deeper relationship with every part of your being. Your physical being, so your nervous system, you have to talk to your nervous system and say like, hey, there's no lion chasing us. We're all right. Like, we just got to breathe. We have to slow down, calm down. And then there's the mental part that comes in too, of just knowing that we're in a situation that doesn't necessarily feel good, but we're better for it, right?
Talk to me about the concept of you can't snap a string.
Yeah, this thing, so it's great to pull that quote into this moment because, for me, anybody whenever we're rigid, we're fragile, right? Think about anything rigid, it's easier to snap, right? When you stay flexible, when you stay malleable, you can stay loose and open, it's this concept that I came up with where it's like this string, you can't snap a string. So the goal is like, especially in moments where you're uncomfortable, where you're being challenged, can you stay loose with it? Can you stay flexible so that you can actually respond to the challenge in a way where you won't break, whether it's you just surviving the moment or whether it is you finding a way to beat the moment and thriving from it, it's easier to do that when you are in more of a flexible, agile state versus being rigid.
So right now, do you have your muscles rigid or loose?
No. So, and there's like being a surfer and also jujitsu girl. What I've learned through those modalities of movements, anytime you get stiff, it's easier to be submitted. So if you're taking waves on your head, you get caught inside. If you tense up, you lose your breath. It's easier to get submitted. Like in the water, you actually can't hold your breath as long. And in jiu-jitsu, you'll get swept, you'll get submitted, So staying loose in every aspect. So you asked me about my muscles. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just, first of all, just focusing more on like belly breathing, and also, to be honest, this is that repetition work that really comes into play that is so helpful. I just tell myself, like, you've done harder things. Relax. You've done harder things, and it just helps. Your mind will follow, So we're just like,
yeah. But like,
you're right. It takes time.
so here's the crazy thing. I remember Wim Hof. He came on Tom's show, Impact Theory, and he's sitting there talking about how like, and actually, I'm noticing the higher my arms go, the warmer it is on the surface. So I'm forcing myself to put my arms lower because it's colder.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, do the hard thing, people. Want to do the hard thing. Because once upon a time, though, I would have been the person that was like, no one will know. Just put my arms here. No one will know. It's warmer at the top. But I know.
You can't.
I know. Put my hands down.
Girl, that's such a powerful thing. You are your own audience. Okay, we know we are the writers, we're the directors, we're the actors of our story, but it's also important to say that you're also your own audience, whether you're conscious or not. And the sooner you realize it consciously, the more you own up to the responsibility and the accountability that, comes with that. You want to witness yourself doing things with integrity. You don't want to witness yourself making excuses. You don't want to witness yourself, taking shortcuts. You want to witness yourself trying, even just, getting back up when you've taken punches and it's hard. Like, witness yourself, because the power that comes with that it's beyond any measure of words that I can share. It's just what I know in my life that has been and continues to be the most supportive to me, because I'm watching myself at all times and I'm like, damn girl, all right, like, I love you, like, you're trying. What else can you do?
Yeah, that's so powerful. And to that point, so that was kind of what I was going to say about Wim Hof. So when I first started him talking about like cold showers and cold baths, and heard he ran that, like, he ran a marathon in the Atlantic barefoot.
Oh.
Or in the Arctic, sorry. And I'm sitting there going, he's a madman, right? Like, I'm just dismissing him. I'm like, he's crazy. Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever do that? And as he's sitting there talking about the power of the brain, the power of the body, and that he can actually down-regulate his body temperature.
Yeah.
Guys, down-regulate his body temperature. That shit is so impressive and insane. You want to talk about mind-body connection?
100%.
And so as I was hearing him talk, I'm literally sitting there going, oh, it's crazy, why would I ever do that? And now, as he's saying all the benefits, I'm like, all right, Lisa, it's up to you. You've just heard why you need to do it. And now it's up to you if you're going to be scared and not do it.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you have to say, what do I pride myself on?
Yeah.
I pride myself on hearing the thing that I have to do and not wanting to do it, but doing it anyway.
Right? You pride yourself, you respect yourself. And that's a frequency. That's a frequency that you move through your life with, your entire life. So again, it's like using these activities, right, to conjure up and to cultivate these frequencies, these, conversations, this ultimate connection with self that you then carry out into every other part of your life and, gain from it, benefit from it.
So, okay, so I definitely think of you as like nothing shakes Roxy. Like, nothing shakes you. And I know that that's a mistake to dismiss you like that, because I think that probably things shake you, you just learn to cope with it.
It all comes down to me developing the relationship that I've developed with myself. Because in those moments where I am shook, I run inward. I've created safety in this being of me. I've created trust. It's never, ever to be confused for this babying or lack of honesty. Like, authenticity is it's a core value, man. Like, I will never lie to myself. But that's why I can trust myself, because I know that it's an honest conversation. So to get me through moments where, I'm being shook, how I frame it is I insource.
You say that you deal with being shaken, and you turn inwards. You said earlier something that was so fascinating. I don't know anyone that's admitted this, or not even admitted it, but said it. Because I've so thought of us all have been there at one point. You said you've never broken before.
Oh, nothing has ever broken me.
Yeah.
In these moments where you're getting beat down, whether it's he broke up with you, whether it's a financial issue, whether it's you didn't get the opportunity you wanted, whatever it is, right? These really hard moments. The invitation for me is, how could I get closer to myself in these moments? How could I be there for myself in these moments? Honestly, Lisa, maybe it's ego. I'm like, nothing breaks me. Nothing's gonna break me. Because here's the deal. If something breaks me, you have come between the relationship that I have with myself. And in my life, there is nothing that reigns above the relationship with myself, right? So does that mean, I'll just use a real life example. The one, fortunately, he's one of my very best friends, but the breakup of my love life, right? Where, I didn't see it coming, and we were together for 3 years and I loved him, and he was like, and all of a sudden it was like, this is gonna end, and I was like, what? It was like a Sunday, we're making food. I was like, huh? And, you know, to just kind of move through the story, it's like he had to go and he had to, there were just things in his life that he knew he needed to do just being solo, not being in a relationship anymore, you know? Whatever. And the funny thing is, like, I was always the breaker upper. So this was completely new for me, and I was also very much in love. So I was not ready for it. So I remember this moment just like it's right now, you know, because when you get hit like that, right? It's like it's your brain, everything, nervous system. And I just remember going, no, like this isn't real. Like, no, we're not gonna. And I did the whole, like, can we go on a trip? Like, can we try? We had been apart a lot. I was on a tour. He was traveling, professional athlete. And I was like, no, like this is just where we're at now, you know? And then I just remember that conversation with myself. Well, first of all, I should say this. I loved him, and I knew that for me it was like, well, if you really love him, not your idea of him, and not your relationship with him, but if you really love him, and he's a good guy, he's just telling you the truth.
Okay, pause there for a second,
Yeah.
because that is so huge. I don't want to brush past it. How do you do that? Because so many people, it is the self-protection.
Yeah.
Right? In that moment to be like, he's a fucking arsehole.
Yeah.
Right? To give yourself a reason to hate them, because it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
How on earth? That's because if we can get this across, this is really freaking strong.
Yeah, yeah.
How on earth, in that moment of utter heartbreak, or even on 41 knees,
Yeah.
you can still be so damn gracious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, first of all, I will say that I am a firm believer that love and respect go hand in hand, and this is a man who always demonstrated respect with his love. So he didn't do anything that was shady or like he was just literally saying, "I love you, but I gotta go." And yes, in that moment, anybody could still get in that defensive mode and be like, "No, what do you mean?" Da, da, da. But it's this ability to zoom out and go, "What's really happening here?" He's not saying you are wrong, you're not good enough. He's literally just telling you what he needs to do for himself in his life. And if you love him, then you let him go. Like, there's no argument here. And if you love you, you hold in your own right now too. Like, you don't, there's no falling apart. There's no, and by the way, that didn't mean that I didn't have tears. It didn't mean I didn't have, a hard time processing, but it was just that. It was like, look, he's not saying, I didn't take it personal. It's so easy to take, that's the bottom line. The reason why it's, when you're so like me-centric, like, and you get into that defense mode, it's because you're only looking at it from that perspective. You're not zooming out and going, what is going on here? Like, what, this person is just saying for me, it was like, I love you very much. He's just saying, girl, I love you, but I gotta go. Like, this is just where it's at. And whether I wanted to accept it or not, so it's just be okay with this, And then it's also me, again, always goes back to my writing, but it's like, yes, did my heart feel broken in that moment? Of course it did. But in my poetic way of, expressing this and moving myself through this, it's like, anytime your heart feels like it breaks, the work is to bring those pieces together in a way where your heart is stronger than ever before. So again, it's like this whole concept of like facing challenge and knowing that the challenge is going to fortify you, but it really comes down to your perspective of it. If you want to stay down, if you want to be the victim, if you want to be broken, that's your choice. You could angle it a completely different way. I'm not saying it's easy. I am saying it's worth it though, because when you can come out of a situation, for me, I can look back and I have so much respect for myself for the way that I moved it. Because again, I loved him. That was not easy for me, but it is, perhaps maybe a higher sense of emotional intelligence. But this goes back to that relationship piece when you brought up before the dead hangs, when I was asking you, how do you develop a relationship with anybody with trust and respect, and you're like, you have to cultivate the self-love and self-trust within yourself. Can you see how that in that moment, that was me in that moment also. It was one part, I love you, but it was also another part, I love me. So I'm just gonna hold it down for myself right now, because it is what it is.
That's so strong, and I think so much, and I'm shivering now, but
I know,
I'm still going. It's so strong because in moments of like, or everything we've been talking about today, everything we've been talking about leads to the mental strength that when you have hard times, how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
And especially with matters of the heart, I think those are the most tricky. And I've been married for 20 years, just celebrating my 20-year wedding anniversary.
That's a big deal.
Thank you. But even now, I say to Tom, if you cheat on me, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Like, because the moment that I would forgive him for that, because everyone has their own thing, so
Yeah.
I'm not passing judgment on any other
No,
relationship.
totally.
But to me, that line is, if you cheat on me, if you go behind my back, the respect is lost.
Yeah.
And so if I took you back, that's a sign that I don't respect myself.
Yeah.
So now what am I teaching myself? And to your point about you can have a broken heart and still deal with it with grace. And, you know, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but I know myself. And I know that if God forbid that ever happened with me, because I've given myself my trust over completely to my husband.
Yeah.
And if he ever broke that, I know how I would react. I know that I would walk out the door. I wouldn't give him a moment's time to explain.
Yeah.
I would walk out the door. To your point, I would be devastated, girl.
Yeah.
I'd be so
Of course.
heartbroken,
Of course.
crestfallen. But I
Yeah.
would never disrespect myself and take him back, because I know that then if I don't respect myself, how can I expect someone else to?
That is a boundary that is so dead clear to you that there is no, like you just said so beautifully, like it doesn't matter. You know, 20 years, 25 years, you cross that line, that boundary, that's a wrap, right? Having that clarity with yourself and that connection with yourself, this relationship that is so empowered, that's so clear, you're not flimsy, you're operating with a sense of reverence for self, and that is going to affect how people also respect you. I know I just kind of went out there with the coldest.
I was like, I don't know if that made sense. I think you made sense to yourself. But I mean, that was so cool. I was like, sure, let's just go with yourself. Okay, the giggles are coming. I saw you to stay warm. Ladies, I know sometimes you worry that you're not good enough. Trust me, nobody knows that better than me. I spent almost a freaking decade having my soul sucked out of my body, doing something that I didn't love. Finally, even though I was scared to freaking death, I decided I was going to go for it. And I've ended up building the life of my dreams, a life I couldn't have imagined, because I realized that radical confidence is being afraid and doing it anyway. I wrote this book for you with 10 no BS lessons that you need to go from feeling stuck and frustrated to doing anything that you set your mind to. I don't pretend that there's a world where my husband would leave me because it's about me. Because maybe I get older. I'm not saying that that's a reason.
No, totally.
But it could be.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now in moments of that where people are fine, it is about you.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that it isn't detrimental to how you see yourself?
It's all about how you feel about you and the relationship that you've developed with you. If you can honestly say to yourself, with yourself, like, hey, do you feel that you're, a generous, loving, nurturing individual? And do you feel like you show up like that in your relationship, If I can honestly say yes, then I'm just going to have to say, okay, well, that's where then you're at, And then there needs to be some kind of acceptance, right? It's like people are at where they're at, right? And it's not where they're at isn't always where you're at. And we need to be clear on that. But it's hard if you don't have a relationship with yourself to be anchored into where you're at with yourself.
So if I know I'm the type of person that would be there for somebody, I'm the type of person that will, have someone's back. I'm the type of person that when someone's down, as a friend, I'm going to be there. And let's say a friend turns around to me and was like, you're not a good friend.
Yeah.
So first step is don't take it as fact, but do assess it.
Yeah.
Don't just try and protect yourself and say like, no, I'm an
Be
amazing,
blind to it,
yes,
yeah.
like, I'm an amazing friend, I'm an amazing girlfriend, I'm an amazing wife, and they're crazy. Doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
So process it first, but
Yeah.
know who you are, because that is going to be the foundation where you don't then say, well, oh my God, they must be right and I must be wrong. Like if you're grounded in who you are.
Absolutely. I mean, I recently was saying this, like, this whole thing called life, like this whole game, it's all about knowing who you are. Because nobody can just come in and tell you who you are. You can't be pushed around. Like when you're angered, and I'm not suggesting that we are not open, that we are not able to hear, especially our loved ones, or counsel, or you know. But in my opinion, when you really know who you are, nothing can override this knowing, right? It doesn't mean in moments like that, for example, I've been called selfish. Oh yeah, which is
Because you took
the
care of
mo-
yourself, let me guess.
yeah. Well, yeah, or it's like I don't want to. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go train, or I'm gonna sleep, and I'm not gonna go to that event because I know what I need to feel good, and this is just what I need right now. And it's the most interesting thing to call me selfish, because at the same time, I mean, any of my friends, you being one of them, knows like if shit's going down, you're calling me, because it doesn't matter. Madagascar, where are you? I'll be there. Like that's how I rule. You know, like I'm not the friend you call for brunch. I'm the friend you call for battle. I take so much pride in being there for my friends. But again, I don't have to position myself to be less than or do things that I know that aren't going to feel good for me. But so the whole point is to say this. In the moment where, you know, the person called me selfish, you know, would I still take a moment to evaluate the situation? Thank you. Just to make sure that, you know, I'm like, is there another way I could be looking at this, maybe from their perspective, that, and if I can honestly say, well, no, you're just truly saying yes to what you want to say yes to, which is, no, I don't want to go to the event. I want to sleep. I have to get up early and perform. And then understand that, like, you know, yeah, your friend feels let down because your friend wanted you to go to the event, so the friend is calling you selfish. It's like, well, you know, I'm going to be okay with that.
How the hell? So and that's so beautiful, and I've also heard you talk about not making yourself small to make other people around you more comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're such a freaking badass. I can imagine people get intimidated by you, but that could be so detrimental to you. And the reason why I want to talk about this is I've really been building my confidence, as you know, right, for the last 15 years. And in the evolution of me building my confidence, over time, people that aren't as confident have, I've had one person that actually said, you're arrogant. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like, I built my confidence so much.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, wow, if I spilled over into arrogance, like I really did pause, because I was like, I felt so good about myself. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was so just like confident in what I wanted. And so in that moment, I was like heartbroken, and it really like threw me off. And so I paused, it's like, okay, don't take it as fact, just assess.
Yes.
Because you love this person, you want to actually know, are you being arrogant? Because I don't want to be arrogant.
Right.
So I took a pause and I was like, okay, assess what you said. How did you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I was on the other foot, would that have come across to me as arrogant? No, it just came across like I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, what are they perceiving? And once you can I could put myself in their shoes, I was like, I know they struggle with confidence. So I was like, here I am. Oh, it's a moment of, I've crossed the line where I feel good about myself now, and that person hasn't yet.
Right.
And so I want to greet them with compassion. I
Yeah.
want to greet them with empathy. But to your point, I never want to dumb down.
Yeah.
And when I say dumb down,
Like
obviously
turn the
dumb
volume down on.
my confidence.
Exactly.
But don't you think though that a lot of people, it's just, they just feel bad with themselves. So it's not
Yeah.
even like, it's just their own insecurities.
100%. I think there's more insecurity than security.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not at the fault of, you know, anybody. It's. I think there's a lot of factors that come into play for that reason. You know, I think just in general how we've been groomed, society like teaches us, you know, just certain things that would make us feel more insecure at times. You know, but I do think that it's very important to stand in yourself and in your your confidence and in your self-worth and in your integrity, and not turn down the volume on this so that you can make others feel more comfortable. Now look, it's also, you don't have to overexpress anything either, but I think the point here is that you never want to turn down the volume on who you truly are in any way, shape, or form to fit into the room.
So what do you do when you find yourself accidentally intimidating others, but based on their own insecurity, not based on the fact that you're
This has happened so much.
So what happened? Right, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Tell me how you handle it, because the last thing I want, I always look at like what's going to derail people.
Yeah.
Like, how do people get on the path, and then what's going to derail them from
Yeah.
the path? And so I really feel like I've done a good job of getting them on the pathway, hopefully. But like I do worry about the derail as they start to build their confidence, as they start to build their badassery and their resilience.
Yeah.
That there are going to be these moments that the people in their lives that may not be changing along with them,
Right.
may now perceive their confidence, them stepping into themselves, as being arrogant.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want is for that to then derail their journey of confidence. So how do you handle it?
Yeah, well, if first of all, I love that you always bring self-awareness into the picture, whether you're saying it or not. But I think it's so important to say, because self-awareness to me is the greatest attribute for any growth, right? It's like the gangster emotional intelligence attribute, because in those moments, you pausing and just kind of assessing, just asking the question. So you're not reacting, you're just responding, right? That's to me step number one. Assess and really ask yourself these important questions, even if it's silently and fast, right? Because this could be whatever the environment you're in. And for me, there's different things that can happen. It really just depends, If I'm in a situation where I can sense that someone feels a little intimidated around my energy, and I'll tell you what, Lisa, usually the intimidation factor in my world has never necessarily, I mean, it's not because, oh, look how confident she is. It's because you know very clearly that it doesn't matter who's in the room, doesn't matter what's like, I'm just very comfortable in being me. And that's an expression of confidence that comes out without saying I'm confident. I'm just comfortable in myself. So if I'm in a position where, and if somebody's in an environment with me where they're not comfortable within themselves, and then they experience someone who's just not efforting, I'm just not closed. I'm just out here, like, I can laugh, I can be open, I can be like, whatever, I've sensed it, because I'm very sensitive to energy. It's my first language. People get like, kind of stiff, or maybe even like little, And so there's a couple of things that you can do. I think the compassion piece is important, because already understanding, like, look, that's just where they are. Sometimes, like, I can crack a joke or just even start a conversation, and that has diffused, where it's like, because all of a sudden, the individual that might have had this impression of, because I'm so comfortable in myself, which also exudes a level of confidence, that perhaps then I might think of myself as, like, there's levels, like, you're over here and I'm over here, which is the furthest thing from me, right? So then when you start engaging and interacting, it diffuses that, and it's like, oh shit, now But if you're in a situation like with you in your example, where, it was somebody that was close to you, and you're evolving in a way where maybe there's a misalignment now, that's where, to me, I already have this understanding that, and everything in life is alignment, right? You and I, from the beginning, it was just like alignment, right? Like
We're like magnets.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hugging each other, we didn't even know each other, we were coming up to it. I just love it.
Because there was alignment there, right? There was resonance there. And, there have been people in my life where there was alignment that was so strong at times, but because of how I evolved and they evolved, the misalignment came into play. So this is just having this awareness that there is going to be moments like that where there's just now a misalignment because of where you are on your journey and where the individual is. To me, that helps to kind of soften the reactions that could come in, that could cause someone to be defensive and very reactive, and instead just understand this situation from that perspective, that's like, well, okay, you know, I've evaluated and actually I don't agree with you. I know that I'm not operating from arrogance. I know that I'm just really comfortable in this, you know, me energy and you know, perhaps this comfort and level of confidence is, you know, setting something off in you, but you know, we're all responsible for our own self and you know, I can't do anything about that, you know, you being to the individual, right?
What's interesting is I apologized for triggering her.
Oh.
And I said, like, because I was like, look, I had no intention of triggering you. Like, that is not, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry if I did.
Yeah.
Like, I just know what I want. And
Yeah.
so, like, I didn't mean, like, I was very genuine. Like, I didn't mean to come across. If I did, I
Yeah.
apologize. But just so you know, I still stand by it, right? Like, and so that's the
Yeah.
important thing is, like, trying to show the compassion to the person.
Yeah.
But it was so important to me. Like, I remember that day, and this was like a couple of years ago now. I mean,
Yeah.
before COVID, so maybe 3 years now. But I remember that day where I was like, I so wanted to back down and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I might like shrink back.
Yeah.
And I was like, that won't serve me, that won't serve her.
No.
But I didn't want to hurt. So I was like, oh, this is one of those moments where I can be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
Yeah.
But I'm still true to myself, right? And so now it becomes this beautiful dance that you're doing where you are showing compassion to that person.
Yeah.
But to your point, you're not making yourself smaller because I knew, girl, I knew in that moment, I was like, Lisa, don't you dare make yourself smaller. You need to be proud of yourself. That if you got into the point where you were so confident, it just came out your mouth. Like, you just said what you wanted, and I didn't have to, like, worry about should I say what I want.
You don't want to have to censor who you are.
Mm.
Like, I mean, that's
No,
not,
no, don't.
no, exactly. And you know, in that moment, you know, I'm very, again, specific about the words I use, right? You choosing to be loyal to who you truly are, right? Because that makes a difference, right? When I hear the word loyalty, which is a core value of mine, it creates a different experience for myself. So if you were not loyal to your true self in that moment, and you know, were like, oh, and then you know, kind of turn the volume down, I mean, that's a slippery slope, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's insidious because it will, even if you don't feel a large impact from it in the initial, which you could, but let's just say you didn't, that pebble in the shoe will get very heavy throughout your journey because you'll continue to do that. So I always say that be prepared. It's always about this preparation. Be prepared. Choosing to be loyal, to be devoted to your authentic self will mean that you will have many moments where you're going to face a lot of discomfort and you're going to likely also face a lot of pain. You know, you might let somebody down that you actually loved, but you had to be loyal to yourself in that moment. But either way, so if you choose to not be loyal to yourself, you're going to feel that discomfort and that pain as well. This is where, to me, you know, somebody who's not truly this is why living your authentic self and your authentic life is such a core topic for me, because it's like, look, you know, you might not feel it in the beginning and you're just kind of like, oh, bending here, lowering here. Okay, sure, I'll do this, but I don't really want to do this. I want to do that. And then, you know, the individual goes through a good portion of their life. And this is where the stories come up where it's like, there's just like this depression. There's, you know, or there's burnout, or and all of that, to me, all of that just comes down to there's a disconnect with self that has taken place, right? And so then the work becomes, what do I need to do? And it becomes spiritual work, it becomes whatever, self-care, like to come back to self so that I feel, you know, more whole again, right? So in summary there, it's to say this: choosing to be loyal to your authentic self doesn't get you off the hook from discomfort and pain, but just know that if you're people pleasing, if you have no boundaries, if you're turning down the volume, if you're saying yes when you really want to say no, or saying no when you really want to say yes, even if you don't feel the discomfort and pain initially, and you may, but I'm just making it clear, like, oh, yeah, you will feel it in the long game, and it will become a bigger problem, a bigger issue to deal with than if you just stay true and loyal to who you are. in those moments.
Dude, it is so powerful. You're touching on one of the concepts that I love so much, which is the momentary happiness for long-term happiness. Like, ice cream tastes amazing. Like, a big tub of Ben and Jerry's tastes amazing. That's momentary happiness.
Yeah.
And so in those moments where you said about loyalty to yourself, damn, that God, that hit me so hard, it's like if you betray that loyalty now, that may be easy, bending, the shrinking slightly, it may be easy right now. I'll just do it this once. I'm just going to do it for this person. Oh, but I love Roxy, of course I'm going to do it for her.
Exactly.
But then to your point, what you realize is the long-term effects that has become so detrimental to you that it's just harder to unwind.
Because whether you understand it consciously, you've cheated on yourself.
Jesus, you hit me with that one.
But it's like, right? But it's the truth. You cheated on yourself. So, you know, it's like, again, and then when you're the audience, like, okay, maybe you've got the blinders on, maybe you're not aware, maybe you don't want to be aware, but you know it. You know it, and you will feel it. At some point in your life, it will come out, and it might be big, it might be whatever, but, you know, so it's like, look, you know, again, just accept that in any which direction, you know, being loyal, not being loyal, hard, pain, challenge will come up. It's just part of our experience with life. I say that to choose to stay loyal to your authentic self is how you can create this ultimate relationship with yourself and keep fortifying this relationship with yourself. So as you're moving through your life and as you're moving through those challenges, this is the winning on the way to winning, right? You stay, yeah, exactly. It's like, and the more you do it, the repetition work, the more you stay true in those moments. I mean, to me, this is where true confidence comes from, because, you know, I'm saying to myself, I choose you, girl. I choose you. So that's why I can walk into any room. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't, I choose me. And so you just express yourself differently when you continue to choose you in life. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a different frequency in essence that you are emitting. The wealth, the opulence that comes from that, it's immeasurable, you know?
God, that was so fire. Be loyal to yourself. Trust yourself. Do the hard thing. Face adversity. Get uncomfortable. Get back up. Where can I learn to do all that with everything that you do? Like, you teach, you've got your programs, like where can people go to, like, hopefully this really has just like started that journey for them, where they are their best people watching, become their best friends. So yeah, where can they find all the amazing, you've got just like coaching and stuff, like where can they find everything you're doing?
BlackBeltBD.com is the mothership to all things, whether it's working with me privately, whether it's digital course, Feed Yourself digital course coming out, Black Belt BD Radio, my baby podcast. So that's definitely the hub where you can connect with me everywhere there, and then Instagram, of course. Roxy Look, Black Belt BD.
And I tell you all the time,
thank you.
But guys, if you haven't heard it already, I'm going to keep saying it. Go check out her podcast, just so great.
Thank you, Mama. I love you. This has been so much fun, and I do hope that, you know, it really just puts this message across of like, become a possibilitarian, become your own best friend, seek the fight, and you're worth it the whole way through. Right? Just straighten that.
Guys, we really want to know and hear from you. What today brought you value? What did you enjoy the most? We're trying new things here. Me and Roxy, we literally were just like, fuck it, let's give it a shot. Let's show people what it looks like to keep showing up, to do the hard things. So I really, really want to hear from you. Drop in the comments, what were the things that you found powerful? What were the things that you found funny? What were the things that you found you're going to take away and you're going to test and try in your own life? And then please make sure that you go follow her, follow me. If you're not subscribed, guys, click that subscribe button down there. Tell your homies about Women of Impact. Honestly, that is the one ask I have, except for making a comment, liking and subscribing. But seriously, go tell your homies that this is the place to be, to impact women. Let's create a movement. Let's start showing up for each other and for ourselves. Until next time, guys, be the hero of your own life. Peace.
Today, we'll be showing you how to up-level your confidence.
Because before you even walk into the room, guys, you need to believe that you are a freaking badass.
The words you tell yourself about yourself matter because your internal voice will project your confidence.
Or lack of confidence.